Alright guys, coming to you guys talking a little bit about some unfair credit card practices, and I read an interesting article, actually it was last week, but it was a senator from Michigan who's upset about credit card practices and what happened to one of the residents out there in Michigan. The guy had spent $3,200 on his Chase card. He had put some expenses for his wedding on there, and long story short, over 6 years, he had paid back about $6,300, so about twice as much as he originally charged, and still had over $4,000 that he owed on the credit card. From basically unfair credit card practices where they just kept lumping on different interest rates to the same amount of money that he had on there in the first place, to over the limit fees, to late payments, all these things, and he was only late 3 times over that span for an amount of $200 at each instance. So basically he just got really this guy got rolled because the credit card companies can change the rules any times they want. That's written in their contract. If you look at the terms and conditions of your credit card contract, they say, one, they're just basically in Mandarin Chinese. They don't make any sense if you don't speak the language, and I don't speak Mandarin Chinese, and I doubt a lot of you do. The point being is, guys, they're insane to read. If you do figure them out at the end of the contract, they say that we have the right to change any terms and conditions for whatever reason whenever we feel like it. It's not a very fair game to play, especially when it's one that has to do with our money. If you're like me and like most people, money's near and dear to your heart. It allows you to do some of the great things that you want to do in life, and we never want to be taken advantage, especially when it hits us in our pocket. So understand some things. I need to step back one tick here because I think the problem with our generation, and I'm with you guys in this generation, that college age person, is that we're very entitled. We grew up with families that probably had quite a bit of money or disposable income that helped us out. There's a survey that Charles Schwab did, Teens and Money, in 2007, and it talks about when we left high school going into college, we thought we were going to make $145,000 a year at the peak of our careers. So once we were out of college working in our careers down the road, we thought we were going to max out at 145,000. Well, in reality, statistics show that we make a little under $55,000, and that's with a bachelor degree graduating from college. Well, what do we got to think about that? We think we're going to make 3 times more than we actually do, so we start living that lifestyle in college, and it all starts with us putting stuff on our credit cards. I'm not even going to get into the student loans because I think we put too much of that on our plate as well because we just don't understand deferred gratification. And I'm with you. I'm all about the instant gratification, but I've had to change my mindset because too many of my friends, and I guarantee you, you'll see your friends in the next few years will be like this guy that's getting married out of college. And look at this guy here. He's struggling financially. Marriages are suffering. People's work are suffering. They're getting fired for poor performance because they're so worried about their personal finances when they're at work, they can't focus on what they need to get done. It's a serious thing, guys, and all this stuff that we're putting on our credit cards in college, it doesn't make any sense because we can't control it. These credit card companies can do whatever they want, whenever they want, just like this poor guy in Michigan. So understand, read through the terms of your contract. If you understand them, then play the game however you want. But my guess is that you're not going to understand them. A few things to look out for: a grace period, universal default, and where they say in the contract that they can apply your payment to any fees. That's an over the limit fee, late payment fees. If you have an annual fee on your card, they can apply your payments, to any portion of that however they please. What they're really trying to do is to keep you in debt for as long as possible. So they make more and more and more money off you, and they really don't have any reason why they should be able to make that money. It's very crooked if you look at that. So put it this way: a grace period means how long you have until you actually start incurring interest on your credit card. So you make a purchase, let's say for $500 this month. If you were to pay it back full on $500, no big deal, right? Within your grace period. Most grace periods are 25 days. Here's the caveat though. If you paid back 450 of that $500, you would still get charged interest on the entire $500 because they don't do the whole partial payments. If you're on time but you still have even $50 left of that original balance, they charge you interest on that entire $500. Okay? Here's the second thing to know. Your grace period, if you carry a balance at all from the month before, meaning you didn't pay it off in full, you have no grace period. You start accruing interest charges from the day that you make that purchase. All right? So don't be confused with the little lingo that they put in that contract. Grace periods are only for people that pay off their balance in full every month. All right? Know a few other things. Universal default, guys, this means if you are late on any of your credit cards or any of your accounts for any reason that appears on your credit report, your credit card company in there says that they have the right to check your credit report whenever they'd like. And if they see that you haven't paid anyone else back on time and you have a negative on your credit report, that they can increase your interest rates on your cards, even though you've never been late to them, to the default rate. And for a lot of cards, that's over 30%. So do you see how easy it is, even if it wasn't your fault, your check got lost in the mail and you were late to paying off your Express or Banana Republic bill? Doesn't matter. They see that on there, they can increase that interest rate. And if you're carrying a decent sized balance on that, like a lot of us are in college, the average senior is carrying almost $3,000 of credit card debt. That can be a big piece of change that you're scratching every month to service that debt. So don't put yourself in that position. Don't let the bullies win, these credit card companies, because for some reason we think that they're governed and they're regulated, and quite honestly, they're not. The biggest supporter of George Bush before he ever got into office was MBNA. That might not ring a bell, but MBNA was bought out by Bank of America, so it's synonymous with them. Just know, guys, that they're not playing by the rules, and we're just going right into their traps because they have the marketing crew that probably went to the Harvards and the Yales and the Browns, and they have insane amounts of debt themselves, and they know exactly what it's like to be a college student, wanting to have all the things that we want right now, going into debt on credit cards, and they know exactly how to pull your strings. That's why you see your mailbox flooded with these offers for your pre-approved for this platinum card. Make me feel good, make me feel special, so I can throw a bunch of pieces of plastic in my wallet so I can be in debt for you for the rest of my life. No thanks. You're smarter than that. You can go to my website. It's www.allineducation.com. There's more resources there. There's good stuff there. Yeah, go check that out. The blog's been a little light lately because I'm preparing for a ton of speaking engagements from the first of the year, but I'll be jumping back on that soon. Hope you enjoyed it.